So it comes to this. It comes to this. Welcome to Impact Review. I'm kidding. I'm not doing that. Other than that, Impact was Impact. It had a good main event, but the first half of the goddamn show was just abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. There was at least qualifying matches, so at least they had some semblance of cognitive overarching storylines going all over the place while revolving around the Full Siege pay-per-view. Technically not a pay-per-view, but a Full Siege Impact Plus special. And there's been qualifying matches, so we had a lot of 1v1s with not a lot of tag team matches or any other match stipulations. It was just one-on-ones. So we first opened with the number one contenders match to qualify for the six-pack challenge involving Chris Sabin that currently teams with James Storm. Don't even know where Alex Shelley is. They returned together, so I don't know what happened. With one part of Violence by Design, Rhino. Yeah, that's the most they could do with this guy. They'll put him up as a monster guy for like a short amount of time, then make him a tag team partner, then a jobber faction member. That always happens with Rhino. The match was absolutely nothing. There were super kicks, a couple hardcore ranas. I don't remember a monumental spot anywhere around this match. There's been a bit of outside interference involving Coney Deaner, but a roll-up finish over the crucifix for Chris Sabin to get the victory, so he'll appear at the six-pack challenge. They did like a Johnny Bravo segment because they do these continuous segments that I've been seeing. If you don't see the Cineville watch-alongs, we've noticed that Impact has a thing with making obnoxious skits like that look amateurishly contained and a camera shot involving Johnny Swigger. Yes, Johnny Swinger's on Impact. Owning his own poker place and doing bets so they can contend storylines, and they've been trying to get in ahead of and it showed Chris Bay trying to get in ahead of James Storm, like probably you and Chris Sabin got to fight each other when you beat Moose, and then teased that he got somebody to kick somebody's ass during the six-pack challenge, and he kept showing, "Get the bitch out of here, Swinger." Yeah, and then Ashley Edwards said, "I don't even know. She can't act. She doesn't look that hot, and she's just there because Eddie Edwards is there." If, in my opinion, I would just put Eddie Edwards to frickin' Ring of Honor over that case. Thanks. All he does is wrestle and look in poor shape. I mean, I know that I guess his thing now is hardcore matches, but now he just looks like a younger Tommy Dreamer in 2021. I'm not gonna say a prime Tommy Dreamer. At least Tommy Dreamer could still draw when he was even being a jobber in the main event scene on ECW. So that was technically it. No, it's Under Siege. My fault. That the whole casino scene was involving like a lot of jobbers over on the segment, like Chris Bay. I think Rohit Raju, Matt Cardona. Did I? I don't even. I think he qualified for the six pack thing, and all it was to consist for like weirdo overacting of Chris Sabin's part, looking like a stepdad. Yeah, and I don't consist that because I have a personal vendetta against stepfathers. Do whatever you can to live life, but do it like nobody in the relationship wants to be a stepfather, even if they really like the child or they really like the woman that they're with. It's just not the situation that you want to be in. Next up, we had Taylor Wilde against Susan. Kimberly looking like she is looks like this is how she dressed after her first son left the trailer house. Looks absolutely terrible ring shape. I saw it in her match over with Taylor Wilde. Can't deliver spots correctly. She can't hit correctly, and it's obvious that she can't wrestle that well because she's in such poor condition. At least Susan has a character, and if you guys don't know who Susie is, She's that zombie bride character, undead bride character on Impact. She's changed her gimmick a couple times. That she come around looking like some dull face waifu character garbage, and now she's a Karen like character that I like, but she should have her own lackey. Give her own lackey, so she can play with like probably a younger wrestler. Kimberly looks like probably older than her. Like somebody that can like tell the younger chick what to do, and she keeps trying to like talk to the authority figure, get in some fun segments, and get her over. She looks over what I see in the Twitch chat. That's the most I'll ever get out of a semblance of real reaction out to real Impact Wrestling fans, because there's no crowd other than if they put an impromptu crowd noise, because all you're gonna hear is the loud ass ring. Because somehow six sides is impossible to do, even though there's no touring, and you spend a whole calendar year in the same setting. So how come you can't change the atmosphere up, change the lighting a little bit, add some music, or hell, bring back the six-side rings, bring something fans can be used to, especially things everybody in your rosters can do exactly the same moveset. I swear everybody's a part of the X division. That's what kills it for me. So this match was just completely average. Taylor Wilde, there was a weird bump over from the ring post, a swinging neckbreaker. This was already 10 times better than that Kimberly match, but still slower. It ended with a German suplex somehow for the win. Yeah, a German suplex bridge for the win. Then Deonna Purrazzo about to leave until that guy, part of Team Canada, issued a number one contenders match. Who's going to face Deonna Purrazzo soon, I guess, at the Under Siege pay-per-view for the title. That's technically it. That's all I got, man. I'm not that conflicted. They keep doing these backstage segments where it shows Deonna Purrazzo getting talked through backstage, and they keep trying to tease something with Havoc and Rosemary, and all they do is just pause and look at each other for the last couple minutes. Because I've been watching YouTube clips, because I obviously don't watch the full show that consistently until I kept doing the podcast. So all I've been seeing is just consistent, because Havoc and Rosemary have history, so at least that's some subligation into why they keep looking dumbfounded against each other. So that's all I can bring over to the situation. They didn't brawl. They didn't go over what happened in the past or how much they want to win the knockout title. Just keep staring at each other. In 2 weeks, I am so invested. Please kill me. Alright, next up we have Trey Miguel against Rohit Raju with Shira in his corner. There was a team called the Desi Hit Squad. Rohit Raju had been a part of, where he was technically a tag team guy. He came to the X Division later on and won the X Division title. That's all I know about the guy. That's where he had the most mic skills, so I guess that was technically it. He lost it to TJP. That was masquerading as Manic. And now Trey gets a shot, and he keeps with his overly lambasted freaking screaming promos how much he wants to win the world title. No charisma, no character, just scream on how much he can do with no situation put in front of him that makes him feel like this is his last shot to win the world title. And I've been just seeing him feud with Sami Callihan over the last couple of weeks, so that just proceeds to like annoy me. The match was alright. It looked like they were just doing flips over a majority of the match. Just flips. Handspring submission for the win over from Miguel. From Raju. From Trey Miguel for the win. I don't really care. There was a German suplex. There were so many unnecessary cutters over most of the match. A super kick. a Huracan Rana from the top. There was a Northern Lights suplex. Yes, it felt like there was no transition up for any, and this is the type of wrestling that I disdain. And don't get me wrong, I grew up when spot fests were actually the biggest pops in the mid card. I watched X Division, so I know a spot fest when I see one. But there's at least pacing into the beginning of where they gel up, and we know who's heel or babyface. Then there's times where they'll do the oh my god moments, and then they'll probably do it as the finish. This doesn't feel like any of this crap. Jake Something came up because Jake Something had in the early stints when they were starting these qualifying matches. Rohit Raju and Shira disrupted his match against Chris Bay and costed him a shot to be in the six-pack match. So he came up and assaulted Rohit Raju, sparkling him probably a future feud coming into Under Siege. So, yeah, at least there's some semblance of a story, or at least some continuity into a feud. Next up, they have Juice Robinson against Doc Gallows. This is one of the more all-right matches of the night. Uh, yeah, that's technically it. They had Kenny Omega and Don Callis uh, coming in over their corner for a match that really isn't that important other than, oh, they're feuding for the tag titles. That means one half of them has to feud to interline with the story, because there's a storyline whenever one half of the wrestlers wrestle with nothing on the line. So it means that the match is going to be more personal when they have to I don't like that semblance of storytelling. Like, unless there's something on the line, or something a bit personal in between the two tag teams to show more conflicting stuff for me to get behind why I should care when half of the two champions wrestle, it kind of gets me more interested. I don't really care that Doc Gallows faces Juice Robinson, other than probably some New Japan mark that has to watch New Japan World without using Google Translate. Like, y'all some weeaboos. That's all I'm gonna say. Match was alright. There was sidewalk backbreaker. There was some spots over from the outside. Juice Robinson was doing some alright selling. I just can't get behind the way he looks. I remember he had short hair before. They tried to treat him as this real Gaijin badass when he was feuding with John Moxley. That's all I remember. And he does look alright. At least he looks better than David Finlay. David Finlay looks like he hasn't hit the gym since he graduated high school. Ugh. So it ends with a sit-down powerbomb. Doc Gallows picks up the clean win over a bit of interference of Carl Anderson. After literally he kicked out of the Pulp Fiction over the finish, and there was a bit of a distraction involving Anderson and Omega until Gallows got the match finished. Decent, at least it picked over heavyweights over the last couple times we've been seeing cruiserweights, but it's for a tag team match. I mean, to build up for a tag team rematch that nobody cares about. And they also keep doing these segments as well, involving Sammy Callahan and Don Callis, trying to tease over. I'm getting some struggle, and Sammy Callahan wearing these terrible pushed over suit because his gut is so big, so it looks so crap. And let me tell you something. There was El Phantasma, this guy from New Japan, part of the Bullet Club, and the Bullet Club has lost luster since 2017. That was the last time they would be prevalently relevant in the in the wrestling manosphere of popularity. And this guy does Nakamura seizure-inducing pose with the too sweet sign, looking garbage with no fun factor or charisma, and he's supposed to be some but and he's supposed to be some cool hotshot high flyer wrestler, and he gets in a unnecessarily close match for his debut. That only treats you as such. They already effed up your push in the beginning. You already are not that threatening, and you're just not a guy that's special. If you're coming from a different company, and they already have you doing 50-50 booking against some jobber like VSK. Who even is that? VSK made his Impact Wrestling debut in a battle in a Battle New Japan Pro Wrestling. Oh my god. So, also, this was supposed to be a debut for both guys, but you are getting the most vignette time over for El Phantasmo. He should be dominating most of the match. He gets a finish over a roll up after getting spring out cutter. I think several super kicks. Like there was a time when VSK was just sparking the most offense over the match. How is it supposed to get your prime guy that you probably want to have some TV time for most of the show, and he just comes around facing no name that hasn't been giving that much advertisement. Hell, not even given an interview. That's just kind of ridiculous. You don't do that with stars, especially stars that come from a company that's supposedly well known over the minority of viewers that still watch Impact. So when you suspect a guy like that comes overseas from a different country that shows to be a hotshot top guy, you want to sell him as that. I'm not gonna just bring home Vader and he's just gonna like have a 20-minute match with Farouk one-on-one. Hell no, I'm not having him squash Farouk in under 3 minutes. Embarrass him and emasculate him, powerbomb him, make him feel like Vader's the next top guy for the world title. That's what it's supposed to book. Hell, you don't even have to make El Phantasma that. Just make him overly confident and flashy and push something up for the show. I'm sorry, I just don't like matches like that. And AEW even pisses me off whenever they can't do squash matches all right. Next, they're building up a, a Knockouts Tag Team title rematch because they're feuding. So that means when the Tag Team Champions feud with the number one contenders, one half of them got to wrestle. So it's Kiera Hogan versus Rachel Ellering, I think the daughter of Paul Ellering. That's why they keep referencing over her second generation roots. And the match was pretty average, to be honest, like below average. I mean, the only positive thing was looking at Kiera Hogan's ass, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. Like, there was a terrible backdrop suplex, too many near falls, the match dragged for unnecessarily long. You could have just ended off a failed cheating attempt off Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz, but that's all I could say. Ellering picks up over the victory. They backstage it up, and they tease that Tasha Steele, that somehow Jordan Grace is a non-factor. I guess because she's injured. So then Ellering probably is going to face off Tasha Steelz next week to build up to their personal rivalry. So that's all they bring up. And here comes one of the best the match of the night, in my opinion. And Impact did move up to a 123 from their. They gained 3,000 more viewers from last week. That was an absolute shit show. So yeah, good match involving Moose and James Storm. This was to be the final participant in the six-pack match to see who will be the number one contender for Kenny Omega's Impact Wrestling World title. Come the night before WrestleMania Backlash, so at least there's something to watch over the weekend. But this match was great. Moose looked like a star, entrance like a star, came over talking to the authority figure earlier on, saying, "Why have to jump through hoops when it's obvious that I still can be world champion?" And the authority figure was just basically just babyface authority figure is like, here's your chance, here's your opportunity, you get a shot. Like, this guy's so effing boring. Like, he has some semblance of nostalgia factor. That's, I guess, why he's still there, because he's just over the booking committee, and technically, because he was a part of when TNA was actually watchable. So, yeah, that's all I remember. So there was a bit of a threat. James Storm came with a bag of food, throwing it over to Moose, trying to hype over the match. A bit lackluster build, but a really good match, selling over. Moose being a bit more decisive and smart, really athletic, even though for a big build. Hyping over that he's a former offensive lineman, yet he now is built like a freaking linebacker. You look at his look from just a few years ago and his look now, the guy is shredded. Guy looks like a star and he can talk. I like Moose. And I like the part where they were selling over more of, and this should be done for nearly any other match that has a finisher over. Moose actually targets a leg, not just for a little part of the match until James Storm gets a weird ass comeback. That actually plays a factor even at the end of the match. Playing over to the guardrail, spearing the leg, trying to restrict the last call super kick. They were actually marking more psychology and selling over the match than any other part of the card. That is freaking mind-boggling to me that they could do this and they could look like wrestlers at the same time. Failed over the last call super kick. Ref checks over on James Storm. Too much pain coming over to that leg for the ref to even concentrate, and James Storm is too hurt to even drag to get Moose for the pin. Moose recuperates in the right amount of time to hit his spear. That looks a bit stupid though, but yeah. Moose gets the victory over just a weakness of James Storm's leg, and they tease over to Moose being the number one contender for the being probably the biggest threat in the six man match. So that is practically it. Good match. Well done, well executed to even sell over Moose as being a smart big man that's decisive and really playing over the factor of the last call super kick. Don't know what they're gonna play over with James Storm because obvious that he's not gonna be part of the match, and kind of would be nice if they made this for like a world title match in the future because I like this. This is a good match. Hopefully, Moose wins the six pack challenge. That's all. That's all I don't mind because the guy actually looks like a wrestler. And yeah, any positive? There was no Kenny Omega over at the main event because he technically doesn't draw. And nearly every match was tiny bit solid and a bit mediocre until we went to the main event. So I'm giving this like a 4 out of 10, to be honest. Might not be doing this again. You want to see me go fully in depth, and I'll be fair, but I'll be truthful. I'm not going to like kiss ass and be like, well, no, it's not how it works. It's not how critiquing works. So, yeah, come over to Cinefil Productions. Shout out to him. We do pretty much daily pro wrestling. Uh, uh, reactions going over from Monday Night Raw, NXT, Impact, and Dynamite, and Friday Night SmackDown, and probably whatever we feel like. I guess if there's nothing on of a certain circumstance, we'll go for another wrestling show, or we'll do any other type of watch along. Other than that, a shout out to him. Thank you for watching the Impact Wrestling Review. I think if you don't know how to watch Impact these days, they're on Access TV, so if you can, or even if it sparks your interest, you can find it there if you go to your cable provider or you go on Twitch, where they average now 4,000 viewers. So that's all I can say from here. Thanks for watching. And subscribe for more.